This is Cheryl with Sea Spirit Tarot. And I'm back with my thoth lessons, of which last week I had a really hard time doing. I don't know, I was edgy. I left the tarot. I mean, I was in tarot 20 years ago. I'm relearning. This is my learning. These are my critiques. This is mundane to many, I am sure. If you're sitting through this and any of it resonates with you, that is absolutely fabulously gorgeous. And where do I begin this? I want to say that in all the years of nursing, I was so focused. And now that I'm not nursing, things are starting to come conceptualized in my head. And I'm almost starting to be able to articulate again. I used to have a very large vocabulary. I was one of those people that took honors English because it was easy. But all the years in nursing and being so focused, and though I could use my spiritual gifts to a point, I was focused. And emotionally, nursing, and it's 12, 16, 18, 16-hour days, usually only about 16. And there's just not a lot of time left, and everything kind of got sealed off or suppressed, repressed back there. Repressed, suppressed. Keep repressing it till you suppress it, I guess. So anyway, this is my learning. This is what my higher self, my guides, my soul spirit, sun soul spirit says I must do, that I must teach the new energy. And I have been being forced by people to do this since probably 2000. But somewhere, like I said before, when we got this configuration here coming together of these changing with Saturn and Pluto of transformation and Saturn of what we're meant to do and how to do it, and you know, all these planets that we're coming into, something kicked loose, like my South Node kicked loose, and I am starting to conceptualize some of these things, which is just an absolutely wonderful feeling that it's coming back. So if you've sat through this with me, blessings. Blessed are you, because this is my journey, and you know, I don't have a Vimeo or any of that. I'm just doing this. This is my retirement, which is my study of my mysticism, which has always been my absolute passion, a self-realization. I want to throw one other little thing in here I heard this morning. I thought it was pretty cool. We know all these changes are coming. We know we are evolving. We know we are changing. Even people that aren't moving with it, that are fighting it, it's happening to them. But I heard this morning, so if anyone has a comment on this, I would love it. I'm on my ball again, okay? It lets the energy flow up my back. It doesn't hurt my back, but it is kind of a mess for filming, I think, is that our solar system is moving into a whole new part of the universe. And I really don't know what to make of that, but it kind of resonates. So I'm just going to leave it there at that. I also want to add that I've been a student of thoth, but until this, I just bought another book that's about that thick with a lot of verbiage. But this book here, and this is the Pose of the Initiate. And it's by the White Brotherhood. And it's actually from a press in Colorado, Castle Press or something. And I am a major student of John Melchizedek. So his works are here too. Brotherhood of the White Temple at Castle Rock, Colorado. So up until this time, all I've ever had is this book of Thoth, which gives teachings and a bit of an interpretation. And as I was saying in my other videos, I mean, I don't know. I could take the word. I can take the word here, and Thoth was the word. Or I can read all these other books. So the jury's still out on the other book, because this book has been my baby for 15, 20 years. Beautiful, isn't it? So I think that's another thing that gets me to the Thoth deck And maybe I wasn't ready for them until I knew that I had the space within myself to do it. So I'm going to start with, actually, I didn't draw a goddess today, but this card kept looking at me, and I drew it for the goddess. But it's actually an androgynous card. It's interesting in all these cards, there's always some kind of a yoni type opening of reception and creation of fertility. But I differ with Marielle, with the Marielle, in that Michael came in to slay the dragons. Okay, yes, there's many metaphors. Many metaphors. What is your dragons? Your fears, your outrageous desires, your dark sides, helping you bring things up. And I look at the dragons. If the dragons came in, I did my lighting a little different, see? I thought I'd be in the dark, but you could see the cards hopefully better. The dragons came in to give us clarity. This happens to be the Six of Wands. But the dragons came in to give us clarity and to help us get rid of the dark parts, of which this card calls the dragon the dark parts. But I'm looking at it with what resonates for me. Beautiful card. And the sigil on his head, still can't figure out where that's coming from. That is coming from the south side windows. They're the only windows I leave not curtained year round because it's so hot here and they have an overhang. Anyway, I don't know where I went. I lost that there trying to find the... So anyway, I'm using... Oh, the sigil. The sigil was made by writing Michael's name on the Rosy Cross. That's above my magic level, but I think that's pretty cool. And sigils are always important. I don't do runes, but I know that they are anciently important. So we have the sigil of Michael and the yoni. That's pretty cool. That's our goddess card. The Acterian card I chose, the star code. Here's the back. This is the part that you take tracing paper and you go over these all with pencil to make neural pathway changes, but make neural pathway changes this way. This is going to be a long video because I just am rambling, and I do have one more thing I want to say before I get too far through it. This is transition, and we are all in transition. We're in personal transition. Our earth is in transition. Our society is in transition. We came here to transition, and we came here to be part of this transition. Now, another thing about this card is I'm originally from the water, and I'm back on the water after 35 years. I mean, on the bay, social beach kind of water. And this looks like a Portuguese manowar. And I don't know if you've ever seen a Portuguese manowar, but they float up here on the water. And this is all, it would be like a purple tanzanite. It's pinks and purples and iridescence and opalescence and pearly and just gorgeous. And here, the tentacles coming down, to me look like pearls. And I'm a Pisces, and I'm all into this pearls of the moon thing. So, I mean, in your transition, you're going to have some pearls of great knowledge. You're going to have some pearls of tears. Transition. We're all in a transition, and we need to be aware in our body what our feelings are. Because that is where it's all at, is feelings. Well, you're going to get that on me, and that's that. So, that's a pretty cool card. Somewhere in my blockage, did I tell you this already? If I did, I'm sorry. I posted a video yesterday, a verbal response to Ouroboros, and all night I wanted to get up and delete that video because I was so abound, and it just showed what an absolute novice I was at everything from presenting to my mundane interpretations, to my saying, how can y'all all do all this? Well, obviously I'm not at that level. So all night I worked on that. Now, these cards I draw with the intent to learn the deck, but they seem to be reflecting personal for me, of which I'm going to give you my personal interpretation, because you may have one similar to it, and it may awaken some code within you. Okay? But I think they also apply on a general level for the collective. So the first card, is that all I had wanted to ramble about? I'm doing this for me. This is my job that my guides or my higher self, Sun, Soul, Source, gave me. And it's within the realm of Pisces, just like institutions, prisons, hospitals, teaching, healing. I've taken 1 million healing courses, but I've never stepped out and opened a healing practice because I've been locked in. And I think it was karma, because once that South Node hit, man, it's like my world has opened up. I'm starting to be able to talk again after not talking to anyone forever. And things are starting to conceptualize. Either that or I'm totally getting ready for the Alzheimer's wing, of which I'll have a good time if I'm there, because that's really not such an awful thing as people think it is. So we had 3 cards. I'll get on to business down here. And they are a 7, a 5, and a 3. Those are all active numbers. And they're all in receptive suits. So we're just kind of, but water and earth go well together. They support each other. So our first card is, I can't, failure. I can't even read this here without the light. Failure, and it is the 7 of disc. I'm going to have to stop this a second. Okay, I think we're rolling. I'm still having trouble getting these videos out because my phone just decided it was gonna die. Okay, so our first card, which Crowley says the only use for this card, not the only use, is, you know, if it was a card, what you would wish on your worst enemy. And if you're doing magic in the Thelma tradition, and you're doing some of their spreads, which are actually in my Dean Fortune book, and you got this card, you would put away all the cards and wait for 2 hours before returning. It is kind of called a bad money card. It is disc. I think these are all forms of Saturn somehow. Now, I go through a book and write down a few things of what are important to me, of what I can absorb. I do not know my tree of life. And if I knew my tree of life, I could tell you so much more about the background colors and why things are where they are. But I don't know that yet. So here we have Saturn in 20 to 30 degrees of Taurus, which is actually the last decan of Taurus. So it's getting ready to move on. And I laid all the cards out in sequence once when I was beginning. And I think right now what I need to do is lay these cards out in sequence again and look at them, because they have a definite sequential flow. Lord of Success, unfulfilled. Like I said, active, passive. And this is the geometric rubus, which is ugly and menacing. And I don't understand that either, but I do know that our next card has the same. So, there's my... Is that my wings coming out all the time? Am I getting somewhere with this? I always get the itches. But I noticed other people getting those itches and all that when they're on here too. So here we have cold and heavy Saturn and slow and earthly Taurus. Jack boosted insult to unimaginative injury. No effort, not even a dream. Sunken sloth. This is the late decan, so it's getting ready to go to new energy. 7. Now, there's so many numerology schools. Truth or consequences. Responsibility for one's own actions. Test, challenges to soul. Theft, delusion. And by another numerology that I use this as advancement in like a Celtic Cross type read. And the pinnacles are, of course, how you live your life, putting your life into action. Now, it's interesting because after I did that verbal response last night to Ouroboros on my healing decks, I kept thinking about what a mess I was. I mean, I was just a mess. It was a mess. And I'm a novice. Even though I'm returning, I'm a novice, or I am well a novice right now in trying to conceptualize everything that I've learned over the last 45 years. And I kept wanting to get up and delete that video all night. Right here. To me, it was like a delusion. You know, I'm doing this for myself. I don't have a Vimeo station. I don't have a tip bucket out there. I'm doing this for me to learn. And for my chakras and self-confidence. So I've done this video twice. The first time I screwed up so bad I just couldn't even take it. So I'm going to give some personal experiences of mine, and maybe they'd relate to some personal experiences of yours. But all night I just kept saying, no, no, no. This is part of your learning. It's part of what you're supposed to do. It's your soul source talking, and let it be. Let it be. You know, leave it out there. It's what's supposed to do. So it's interesting to me this card came up. And we're kind of like that in society right now too. You know, I mean, so much action, so many things going on. And so many people still like, let it be. What are the Kardashians doing? You know, what's the football team doing? You know, and it's worldwide. It's not just the United States where I happen to be. So that's our first card in the read. Then we move on to cups. Oh, and here's another little thing I wrote down. Minor Arcana, Heartbeat of Tarot. That was kind of fun. And here we have the Lord of Loss of Pleasure. And this is Mars in the first 10 degrees of Scorpio, in the first decan. And again, this is active passive. Now, Mars loves being in Scorpio because it is a ruler, it was a ruler, Scorpio, before they changed it to whatever Western astrology changed it to. Again, we have this distasteful rubus. Lady Harris has made an inverted pentagram here. The definition of matter over spirit. Matter over spirit. Which could actually go with this too, you know? sunk deep down into matter, into delusions, false beliefs. Mars is happy to be in Scorpio, but he's so excited, he's not willing to give any foreplay. And therefore, how do they say it nicely? I know, he blows his wad. So Scorpio's not real happy with him. Because Scorpio, with her relationships, it's a slow, passionate decay to devour and liberate her lovers. Because there's so much deep to learn in Scorpio, and Mars does not have the staying power to go deep into Scorpio. Love leads to abundance, and now I'm kind of talking about it as we sequence through the cups. Okay, love leads to abundance. If uncontrolled, leads to decadence, boredom, frustration, disappointment. And that's, here we are on the cup journey, if you want to look at it in the sequence. There's pleasure there. It's not destroyed. And the previous card is luxury. And what we have here is the arid winds blowing, the heat, the dry air, reducing, taking away the feelings. And I think that was poorly said, but I'm going to leave it there. The third card we got is again, and this is, I hope I do, a 3. So we went 7, 5, 3. Again, this is an active card in a receptive sign. And here's the lovers, and here is their product. And this is abundance. So, Lord of Abundance. This is Mercury, the messenger that brings the word, in the most receptive sign of Cancer, the moon. So bringing the word into the darkness of the moon, the word, the will. But beware of the good things of life. Enjoy them, but distrust him. And with that, I think he means sensuous pleasure, the will of fulfillment, love, and joy in abundance. It's a spiritual basis of fertility. But note also that these cups are made of pomegranates. And Persephone ate the pomegranate and therefore spent half her life in the underworld. Well, I'm a Pisces and I don't have a problem with that. I'm a little lighter dancer than a Scorpio, but as far as going in and delving into the mysticism, yeah, I'm there too. Spiritual basis of fertility. Both these past cards are emotional, subconscious, intuition, and relationships because they're cups. This is like, no, I'm not going to even do that because I'm not sure I put that on the right card. But it is abundance. And this is where we leave this today. And I will say that after wanting to get rid of that video last night, all night, here in the dark, all night, I've read it. Not constantly, but you know, it was self-esteem, confidence. You know, I was supposed to put it out there, but now I'm going to take it down. I'm going to go hide. No. So I left it up. I trusted my feelings to elevate, to come back up. And we got the 3 of abundance of cups. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. They're starting to make sense to me. We have Michael. He's slaying the dragons, but I'm actually looking for clarity of new rebirth coming through the yoni and the glymph, the sigil. Transition. I would say, here's the Vigo. I would say this is pretty good, that I made a good transition today using my awareness of beingness, of being, not to get caught in delusion, to move through this darkness, through this arid, of feeling into bringing myself to the Three of Cups, of which, like I said, I got up this morning and I've been going over notes and studying, and I feel so fulfilled. I'm a totally novice, and if you watch my other video, you can see the reason I don't understand how they use 50 decks is because I'm not advanced enough to use 50 decks, maybe. But also, again, like that thoth book, how many do I need? You know? This is the teachings and the words of thoth. How many people's interpretations do I need? Or is the truth of being an initiate on how I interpret the truth? Though I need some help along the way, you know. Transition. And the final card for today, for my new deck, which I think, and I don't care if I am still exploring the dark, right? I got Michael. It's pretty dark. Came out here this morning on a rising. So here we have delight. Ganesha, delight. I am a being of violet fire. Here we have golden violet. I spent years trying to decorate my living area, my living room. My house is feng shuied all the way through. From when I moved in, I just put it right in there. But to make my living room furnishes violet and silver. But I'm finding making them violet and gold is much easier. So it's an absolutely beautiful card. So that's my reading. It's kind of long. Know that we are in a transition. Let that work on your neural pathways to ease your way on the path. And I wish you an absolutely beautiful, what is it, Sunday? Thinking about being retired. Don't even know what day it is. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful day. Unconditional love. I am that I am. I know that I know is all within sight of us. The word is within of us if we do but seek. So if you sat through this, I thank you so very kindly. This is my own school of me. We'll see where it leads. And thank you so very kindly.